Good morning. If we could ask everyone to take a seat, we're going to begin. Thank you for being here. My name is Rich McClure. I'm one of the co-chairs of the commission, and on behalf of my co-chair, Reverend Starsky Wilson, and the entire commission, we are thrilled that you're here. We have been looking forward to this time literally since last year, I guess I can say it that way, because this is an opportunity for us to hear from you, and you're going to hear more about that. But to have a Youth Speak event and have this kind of turnout and the number of folks who've taken the time to come be with us on a Saturday is really, truly inspiring, and we're very fortunate to have you here, and we are looking forward to today. It has become our practice and our tradition to center ourselves as we open our meetings, and so we have asked Nigel Johnson, who is a senior at Hazelwood West High School, Hazelwood Central. Dr. Grayling Tobias, a member of the commission, is the superintendent of the Hazelwood schools, and Nigel is here. He's headed to college next year at the University of Illinois to study chemical engineering, and so Nigel, please open our meeting with a blessing and invocation.
Good morning. Well, our heads bowed tonight, please. Lord, I just want to start off by saying thank you, just for being God today, Lord, for blessing us to all crack our eyes this morning and to see the sun that you ordained us with, blessing us to convene in this place, Lord, so that we may voice our opinions and share what we feel, Lord. You said in your word that out of the mouth of babes and infants that we might have strength and silence our enemies, Lord. So we thank you for blessing us to give this opportunity, Lord. We speak peace over this meeting, Lord. We speak wisdom and power, Lord, because we know that words have power, Lord. And we ask you to season our words with grace, Lord, and bless everyone that is here today, because we know that without this opportunity that our voices may not be heard, and that is the only thing that some of us want to do is to talk. So we ask you to bless it and bless us to be strong in what we say, to show emotion if we have to, because you know that that is the way to get to people, Lord. So we ask you all these many blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much, Nigel, and we wish you the very best and Godspeed on your journey. We are fortunate to be on the campus of the Florissant Valley campus of the St. Louis Community College, and the interim president, Ruby Curry, is here to offer words of welcome. Ruby, thank you for being here.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Try not to, my old school teacher days, keep everybody in front of me and not have my back to anyone. But anyway, good morning. I am Ruby Curry, and I'm serving this year as the interim president of the St. Louis Community College Florissant Valley campus. I would like to welcome all of you gathered here this morning to our campus for what I'm sure is going to be an interesting day of sharing and learning. As you listen to and talk to your peers and others gathered here today, please understand that this is a safe place for you to communicate. Don't be afraid to share your ideas, your hopes, and your dreams, because those are very important blocks to restoring our community. The Ferguson Commission is doing great work, important work, and we thank you all for that. Part of that work is making sure that we invest in our future, and guess what? You are our future. So listen, prepare, and think about our future, because this is not a day for only benefit for you, but it's a day to help rebuild our community and make sure that you are part of that future planning. Also, because I am the campus president, I always take a cheap shot for a short commercial. Classes start January 20th, so anyone here who needs a dual enrollment or would like to come back to school, that's for some of the adults in the room, classes start on January 20th. So I'm here to tell you have a great day, and please remember it's a safe place, and please share your thoughts and ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your warm welcome. We are reminded that Florissant Valley has been sacred and safe space for us throughout and beyond the last 155 days. In this very room is where the Attorney General gathered with members of the community. We heard the voices of young people, including those from the Ferguson Youth Initiative on that day, and of residents and various community meetings and gatherings. We are reminded that it was on this campus that the Ferguson Commission concept was first introduced. And so we thank you very much for being this communal space for each of us and for the leadership that you are providing to our community through your hospitality. So thank you. My name is Starsky Wilson. I'm graced and blessed to serve as co-chair of the commission. And I just wanted to say a little bit about today. Number one, today's meeting will focus on youth impact and youth well-being. And so we've been very intentional to extend invitation to young people between the ages of 14 to 24 to share with us, to hear directly from the voices of young people how the events of August 9th and the issues that have been exposed since then have impacted them, impacted their very lives. We know that there is a range of impacts, but we're careful to say, as we said in the very beginning, that our work begins with listening and listening deeply. The work of recommendation of policy changes or solutions will have the greatest impact on young people who will live with them beyond the course of the commission and beyond the time of implementation. So today is a critical beginning for us in the listening process for young people. One of the things that we know is that there are those who are directly impacted on the date of August 9th, but we also know that the 624,000 children and youth throughout our metropolitan statistical area in St. Louis have all been impacted and are impacted by the policies that govern how we do business as a region. So today we want to hear that voice. Now, all that positive stuff being said, now I must give a word of warning. Are you ready for the warning? Y'all not woke up yet. Are you ready for the warning? Yes. I'm a black preacher. Y'all talk back to me. I'm just saying. We have created this space for young people's voices audibly. We will hear them through an open mic process. We will hear them in small group breakouts. We will hear them in another open mic over lunch, and that will all be a facilitated process. We affirm and appreciate the adults who are in the room. We invite you with your thoughts on respective topics to write them down, and there will be opportunity to post them on these boards around the room, because the voices that we will prioritize and that we want to hear are from our young people. Everybody okay with that? Yeah. Okay, amen. So that is, see, the preacher thing keeps coming out. So that is how we're going to, and we'll continue to review that throughout today. After we have this period of youth listening, open mic, our breakout sessions, we come back, do some reporting back, and have lunch. We will have a portion of a business meeting around some administrative matters for the commission as well. All are welcome to stay for that dialogue as well, but we wanted to front load the space for our young people, and then we will get to our administrative business. We will be facilitated again by the helpful hands of the team from Emerging Wisdom and Vector Communications, who have provided expert guidance for us up until this point, and we look forward to being in their hands later today. We also thank a couple of key partners in the Ferguson Youth Initiative team who have been helpful to us in coordinating today, the Florissant Valley campus here, some other young activists and advocates who have been our partners and will be facilitating throughout the process. We thank you as well, and we'll have an opportunity to acknowledge a little bit later. I want to toss back to my co-chair, Rich McClure, for a special introduction on today, and then we'll come back.
Good. Thank you, Starsky. I want to the commission and to the audience assembled to recognize and introduce, in her role as managing director, Bethany Johnson-Javois. Bethany, please stand. We are fortunate and blessed that Bethany is able to, in many ways, make a sacrifice in her life and her career to take a leave of absence from a very responsible position as CEO of the Integrated Health Network, and very progressive and thoughtful and effective, impactful work that she was doing there in order to join us as managing director. And so we did a long process, very thorough, using outside assistants and consultants and due diligence to conclude that Bethany was the very best person that we could ask and recruit to do this job. So Bethany, again, welcome. Thank you for being willing to take on this work. We are honored and truly inspired by your commitment. Thank you. Starsky.
With that transition, we do have, I've got an earlier version. Let me see here. Just want to make sure I fit this right, because You know, when you mess up, people remind you of it. So the next thing we want to do is, as we've done in the past, we have a little bit of framing from some commissioners who are close to issues. We did that with municipal courts. We've done that with policing and community policing as well. And so today we want to hear from a couple of our commissioners who will help to frame where we're going. Before we get into our deep discussions, we'll have that framing from Commissioners Brittany Packnett and Rasheen Aldrich. And then we'll come back and have our newest commissioner, Sergeant Byron Watson, do a bit of introduction of himself to each of you before we transition into our breakout groups. And so I think we're going ladies first. Commissioner Brittany Packnett.
Thank you. Good morning. Now, come on, I'm with Starsky on that church thing. Good morning. Good morning. There we go. Thank you for that. I have to apologize for having my backs to you because I'm a former teacher and I also like to move around when I talk, but I wanted to make sure to write some things down because in talking to young people over the last 150 days and over the last few days, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything that was told for me to deliver to you. And so I apologize for having my back to you, but I wanted to make sure to have those things in front of me. I'm thankful to our co-chairs, Rich and Starsky, and to the commission for having this opportunity to frame and provide a backdrop for today's conversation. I'm also thankful for today's format. This special commission meeting this morning will highlight the most important voices, in my opinion, in this movement and in our community, you, our young people. And too often we make assumptions about what you, our students, our young people need instead of just asking you what you need. And so I could not be more proud of you all for being here today and the folks who couldn't be here today but have been lifting their voices across this region for 150 plus days now. You are the very reason I became involved on August 10th, because I cannot claim to stand up for you in my full-time job in the classroom and not outside of the classroom and still lay my head down at night. So we're here to create a better and more just future for you. I'm thankful for your leadership, for your relentlessness, for your honesty, and for all you have and will continue to teach us today and throughout the work. As an educator, I spend most of my time hearing from, learning from, and serving students, their families, and their teachers. So I'm not here to give you statistics, but to give you the knowledge built by listening, learning, and by marching. And I also told Starsky, I'm not here to make people comfortable, so I apologize if some of the things that I say might be a little upsetting, but this work isn't about making people comfortable, it's about telling the truth, all right? So the issues in Ferguson and Shaw and across this community have highlighted, for me, two critical areas: access to quality, culturally responsive education, and the necessity of student leadership development. So it's critical to begin telling this story by reminding ourselves that the disruption our students faced as school was about to begin this academic year did not begin with momentarily violent outbreaks in a largely peaceful and continuous protest, but by the image and reality of an unarmed recent high school graduate and college student named Michael Brown lying in the street for 4.5 hours on a warm Saturday afternoon in August. The sight was reason enough for many young people, as they told me, to come out of their homes. After all, this story has gone on too many times, and so many times before, this was a peer, a fellow young person, a fellow student. And so for many reasons, far too many of our children know the constant trauma of death, which has both deeply affected their psyches, but also helped instill a profound resilience, the likes of which we've seen since August 9th in particular. During the first 21 days of this event, when militarized police presence was at its height on West Florissant Avenue, a strip on which I spent much of my own childhood, young people and their families were continuously forced inside, restricted from assuming daily activities and providing for one another. Babies couldn't get diapers and formula. Children couldn't go back to school shopping or get their medical checkups. Parents couldn't get to work, and as some of them tried, they were met with arrest and rifles and admonishments to go back into their homes. Thanks to the effort of tireless community volunteers and donors from across the region, many of whom have been making a difference in St. Louis without much fanfare for years, they were able to bring those resources directly to Canfield Drive into West Florissant Avenue, helping to shoulder some of the burden being unduly placed on families and innocent bystanders. But irreparable damage had already been done. Jobs were lost, homes were lost, incomes were leveled, and learning time, most importantly, was lost. When I was a third grade teacher, I taught my students about Ruby Bridges, the 6-year-old little girl who integrated a New Orleans elementary school in 1960. Commemorated by a now famous Norman Rockwell painting, little Ruby relied on the National Guard for protection as she walked into an all-white school for the first time. The same was true of the brave Little Rock Nine. So the irony of that moment, in which the presence of the National Guard and other factors were reasons why, because of deeply viable concerns of safety and protection for our children, students wouldn't be escorted to school, but instead would be missing the critical first days of school in and around Ferguson, again, for very necessary reasons. These decisions were difficult for school teachers and administrators in North County, who I personally know were eager and excited about beginning school and pressing even harder toward dispelling the prevailing myth that all of our students of all backgrounds in North County are not capable of greatness, because they and you absolutely are. Thanks to the relentless ingenuity of teachers and parents, retired educators, union leaders, Teach for America alum, college students, and community volunteers, a community school was created at the Ferguson Library and the First Baptist Church of Ferguson to help provide academic instruction and social learning time to students who had to miss school. This was a critical moment in community healing and support. But statistically, we know that on an academic calendar that is arguably already too short to ensure that our children are globally competitive and closing the academic opportunity gap, the loss of any formal learning time does irreparable harm to each and every student across all grade levels and learning styles. Very simply, time lost is nearly impossible to make up. Still, as the movement continued, teachers, administrators, and students have been vigorously pursuing academic excellence in Ferguson-Florissant, Normandy, Riverview Gardens, Jennings, Hazelwood, St. Louis Public Schools, Confluence Schools, KIPP, and every school across the region. As this learning has been occurring, however, there's been another critical instructional moment for our students about the necessity of your leadership, not tomorrow, but today. Many of the young people I know who were peacefully assembled every night since August were catching the very worst of militarized weaponry that we saw in Ferguson and in Shaw, and then going to class, sleepy, hurt, but determined on the very next day, knowing that their struggle was in the streets and the classroom, and that their diplomas and degrees were just as critical as being leaders in a movement for their own freedom. I have nothing but pride in the young activists and outstanding leaders I've met over the last 150 days. I recently had the privilege to listen in and discuss the future with some phenomenal students from across North County who were assembled to tell their story to the highest education official in our country, U.S. Secretary of Education Arne Duncan, and the president of the American Federation of Teachers, Randy Weingarten. On that day, we also heard from some of their teachers, and together, students and teachers described a familiarity with the strain of oppression and the weight of racial profiling and police brutality since before August 9th, as many of them had come to know that experience personally in multiple venues. And some of those students want to be officers themselves and are questioning, is this a system that's built for me? We also heard them describe relationships that caring law enforcement officers in their schools had formed with them, knowing them by name and encouraging their progress, and how that was their ideal for the future. We heard that some students were encouraged by their administration and their teachers to raise their voices, peacefully standing up for themselves and their generation. Others were, in fact, deeply frustrated by the restrictions placed upon them, being informed that even peaceful demonstrations would be met with their suspension. They wanted to be able to talk to their teachers, who we all know are more than teachers, but also trusted advisors, about the situation, about their feelings, their trauma, and what they could stand up and do about it. And while some teachers were allowed, other teachers feared for their employment if they did so, and yet were deeply conflicted because they honestly wanted to just meet their students' needs. Students want to hear their teachers speak honestly and earnestly with them, and teachers wanted to meet the need. And we cannot teach our children well if we don't know them and they don't know us. We educate our children in the context of their community. Empowered teachers can better reach students through the same kind of thoughtful, informed relationships that we're asking our officers to have. It is critical that we allow our teachers and our students the opportunity to develop those honest relationships about the world around them and are responsive to the cultural needs of each and every student, especially those coming from marginalized and oppressed communities. The function of education for marginalized and oppressed people is to liberate themselves and their communities, which requires our students to be strong learners, but also strong leaders. While it may be easier, we must push ourselves not to prioritize order and control in school over student voice and leadership, sacrificing student sense of self for compliance. We must also look closely at school discipline policies, which, like extrajudicial actions by law enforcement, also disproportionately affect young people of color. Arrests and expulsions should not replace love, relationships, and high expectations that nurture our students to better behavior. Practices that automatically criminalize our young people send them on that birth to prison pipeline. And when we criminalize them in the street or in the classroom, it is simply unacceptable. They very simply cannot come to know and lead to justice this way. And we need this generation, we need you to lead us in the fight. As I close, a few students' voices are ringing in my ears. Throughout the last 150 plus days, I have asked dozens of students what they want from their teachers, their parents, and their community. They were clear with me. You guys were clear with me. You want us to love you, to show you that you matter, because the world is often telling you that your lives don't. You want us to expect excellence from you because you know that you're destined for greatness, and you want us to have your back. And you want us to encourage you and teach you with honesty and grow you into leaders for our community, for us, and the ones that your peers are asking you to be. The impact of Ferguson has been felt at every level by our young people. It's affected your psychological and physical health, your academic access, your safety, but more than anything, I've seen it awakening you a hunger for true progress and a determination to lead. And leaders have emerged. They're college students like Rasheen Aldridge and Jonathan Pulfus, Janetta Elzie, Alexis Templeton, and Brittany Farrell, and Destiny Crockett. They're middle and high school scholars like Derek Washington, Darius Bass, Kaylin Miles, and Gemi Fadai. There are countless more whose names we may never know, but have raised their voices thoughtfully and with power. And where they lead and where you lead, we are eager to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Before I begin, I want to thank both co-chairs who have been leading us in a very clear direction to justice. I would also like to thank the Flow School that has allowed us to be able to come here to speak to the young people, and I'm very excited on today's frame, today's setup of talking to young people, actually hearing what the young people want. We've been saying for so many months, we want our voices to be heard, and finally, someone has listened. The Ferguson Commission has listened and said they want to hear the young people, and they want to know what we want and how do we move forward. So thank you. I stand in front of you guys as a fellow commissioner, but I did not start off as that. I started off as an activist. I started off as one of the many leaders in this movement, in the Ferguson movement that evolved since the death of Mike Brown. Today, I will be discussing with you all things that occurred that made young people come together, that made us take the streets day in and day out, hot and cold, rain, sleet, it didn't matter, we were there. Also, I'm here to share a few things that we have been asking for and advocating for as we've been protesting. We have been asking and demanding for things that we want to change the system that affects us on a daily basis, a system that does not represent us, a system that does not work for us, a system that we have to continue to fight if we want it to be equal for every one of us. Demanding things like holding police accountable, holding them accountable for their actions, not just being able to go out and gun people down and go home safely. It's not right that we have to continue to hear that we want police to go home safely, but we never hear the same for the citizens. We need to see something like a civilian review board. The citizens, the people, the community needs to know what's going on. When something happens and occurs, we need to know. When a fatality shooting happens, we need to know every single detail that happened because we know the lack of transparency that the police departments have shown to the community. Excuse me. Due to the lack of trust and transparency during the movement, young people have asked for an independent investigation when fatality shootings have happened. And sometimes, and something that the commission is doing today that we have continued to ask for repeatedly is for our voices to be heard. That is not too much to ask for if you ask me. It is an important process that the young people's voices is heard, as we know through this whole movement, the young people have been a driving force of the movement. We have continued to seek and have harassment against us. Today, we will hear from a lot of young people who have been harassed, who have been targeted, who have been mentally scarred during this movement. I expect you will hear from young leaders who have had their human rights even violated during this movement. Their First Amendment rights of freedom of speech was violated. I'm sure you also hear from young people who are mentally scarred from seeing and feeling verbal and physical abuse by the hands of the ones supposed to protect and serve us. I wouldn't even be surprised if you see a group of young women come up to this podium, one after one, women who have been a key role in this movement, talk about how they have been shot with tear gas while they were out there with their children or while they was mothers-to-be. On August 9th, a tragedy struck our region. An unarmed young man, Mike Brown, lay lifeless after it was taken by the hands of a former Ferguson police officer, Darren Wilson. His body went viral on social media of seeing Mike Brown lay on a hot pavement, blood pouring from his head after he lay there for 4.5 hours. The way the police responded to the community of Canfield with no remorse not only upsetted the community, but it upsetted a lot of young people. It lit a fire under the young people. Instead of trying to come talk to the community and ease the pain and ease our issues and ask us, why are we angry? Why are we upset? They came with multiple force, many officers. One goal is to use force to stop the protest. They gave many false statements, and they continue to decharacterize the victim and disrespect the ones who just wanted to go out and express their concerns, that all lives matter. On that day of August 9th, many young people took the streets. They said no more. No more lack of accountability. No more racial profiling. No more police brutality. No more saying that one life is not as important as another one, no matter how much privilege that person may have. We said no more, that we will continue to fight for change, that we will continue to fight a system that is not made up for us, a system that continues to hold us down from exceeding, a system that would rather give money to the military than putting backs in our communities, a system that would rather give money away instead of putting it back into the education systems, of which the ones who really need it. We organized, we came together. Groups like MAL, Freedom Fighters, Tribal X, YSTL, Black Soldiers, Southside Solidarity, and individuals like Netta, D-Ray, Brittany, Kennard, Nichelle, Lisa, and Josh didn't give up. We made it our mission and our duty to fight for our freedom. We said no longer more will we see another black life be gunned down by the hands of anyone and not speak up. We said no more longer will this happen in our neighborhood and we stay silent.
As we continued to protest and our human rights were violated and told that we had to continue to walk, or if we did not walk within 5 seconds, we would get arrested. When we peacefully protest, we were arrived by many municipality riot gear cops from all across the region. Once again, the only thing we ask for is our life and our voice to be heard. That is not too hard. As we continue to peacefully protest throughout the movement and ask for things and ask for the system to change so it can work like everyone else, another victim happened, Kajim Powell. We continue to see another life taken from us. We continue to see another life given no justice. And at the end of the day, one side continued to walk away while a community continued to grieve. We worked with our mentors, as we continue to do, as we seek and fight for social change, as we seek and fight the injustice and fight for the social change that we want to live in. Once again, once again, it's so hard that I continue to repeat myself. Only thing the young people wanted was our voice to be heard, not attacked. It was not that hard for someone in leadership positions to come down and speak with the young people. There were many people in leadership positions who could have came down and stopped it before it got out of control. Instead, the young people had to continue to go out there and organize not only ourselves, but our communities. We had to go out there and keep ourselves safe. We had to go out there and watch the businesses. We were doing cop watch. As I conclude this speech, I just want people to remember that when you look at a young person and you may feel or you see that they may be angry, before you judge them, ask them why. Ask them why are they angry, what got them here, and why do they continue to do it? I'm sure you'll be amazed by the answer you get. They're not violent. They don't want to burn down buildings. We just want to create the change so we can live in a world where it's equal to everyone, equal to all men, all women, all white, all black. It doesn't matter the skin that you're in, or the religion that you practice, or the sex or the ones that you want to love. At the end of the day, everyone should have the same rights as everyone else. That's why we're fighting for equal rights as everyone. And as I leave here, it wouldn't be me not to be the protester that I am and start a good old chant like I do. And this is a chant that has become kind of the movement chant. Just a few words that we know and that we take away every time to help us keep fighting, to help us remember how we are in this together, to help us remember how we must love and support each other. So if you could repeat after me. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support each other.
We must love and support each other.
And we have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 Thank you, guys.
I want to thank Rasheen and thank Brittany for their reflections from their deep work on both the impact that we've seen systemically on young people and also the active advocacy that we've seen from young people that has got us to this point. I want to, when you came in, I actually want to make a bit of a shift here. See if we can do the keypad polling now. When you came in, I think, did they receive the pads when they came in? No. Okay. So one of the things that we've been intentional to do is to make sure we know who's speaking with us. So what we want to do right now is take some time, about 10 minutes here, to ask you to let us know a little bit about yourself, so we know and you know who's in the room. where we come from, and what age folks are, those kinds of things. It helps us to know as we go through this process. It keeps us honest on who we're listening to, and it helps us to know who has been able to access and inform this process. So I'm going to invite Ms. Rebecca Bennett from Emerging Wisdom to guide us through this process. And as we do that, immediately following that, we'll create some space for our newest commissioner, Sergeant Byron Watson, to come and introduce himself to you as well. So we'll do the keypad polling now, and then Commissioner Watson will come and share.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we are thrilled and delighted to see you this morning. How many of you, by show of hands, have ever used an electronic keypad? So some of you, but many of you have not. Okay, so this is a great opportunity for you to get familiar with this little keypad. We're going to make sure that everybody gets one, and we're going to go through a practice, right, so that you get a chance to use it before we start asking you questions about your backgrounds. So if you look at the keypad, you will notice that you have 12 sets of buttons. Each button has a number and a letter, right? Yes? All right, I need you to talk back to me, okay? So each button has a number and a letter. When you see a response, right, that matches your response, look for the number of the letter. So if I say, is your favorite color red, and red is number 1, and red is your favorite color, then you push number 1. Are you with me? Or if the letter up is A and red is A, then you push A, right? That's it. It's just that simple. Here's the rule with this. If you make a mistake, if you push a button that does not reflect really what you want, then push another button. The technology will only keep your last answer, okay? So it will cancel out whatever your first answer is if you need to change your mind. Also, if it says that you can have more than one choice, you just push. If it says you can have 2 choices, then you push 2 buttons. Everybody with me? Fairly simple, great. So we're gonna get a chance to practice. Jerica, let's begin. So this is our practice question. What is your favorite color? Now, before we get started, you'll see right now it says polling closed. You see up in the left-hand corner that red box? It says polling closed. So even if you push anything right now, it's not gonna register. Okay? You're gonna wait till that thing says polling open and it's green. So I'm just gonna review the question. What is your favorite color? Is it A, black, B, brown, C, blue, D, green, E, orange, F, purple, G, red, H, yellow, I, white, or J, other? All right, so what is your favorite color? Polling is open. Push the button that reflects your answer. In the bottom, you can't see it. It says how many, because of the table, it says how many seconds you have left. There are 10 seconds left if you have not pushed your answer yet. Okay, polling is now closed. We had 135 responses. So, the favorite color in the room is blue by 22%, followed by purple, 21%. Okay, so great practice. So the next questions are not going to be practice questions. The next questions are going to be real questions. So everybody with me? You ready? Here we go. In what area is your home or residence located? In what area is your home or residence located? Is it A, St. Louis City, B, St. Louis County, C, St. Charles County, right? D, Jefferson County, E, Franklin County, F, St. Clair County, which is where East St. Louis is, G, Madison County, H, Monroe County, or do you live I in other? Polling is now open. You have 10 seconds remaining if you have not pushed in an answer. 3 seconds. Very good. Let's see. So 59% of you, right, 6 out of 10 live in St. Louis County, and roughly 4 out of 10 live in St. Louis City. Great. Let's continue. So in what area is your primary work, right, or school located? And if some of you work and go to school, then pick one, okay? So in what geographic area is your primary work and or school located? Let's start with A, St. Louis City, B, St. Louis County, C, St. Charles County, D, Jefferson County, E, Franklin County, F, St. Clair County, where East St. Louis is, G, Madison County, H, Monroe County, or I, other. You have 5 more seconds. %58 of you, or roughly 6 out of 10, work or go to school in St. Louis County, and 34% of you work or go to school in St. Louis City. Let's continue. With which gender do you identify? Please select one. A, female, B, male, C, other, or D, decline. Polling is open. We have another 5 seconds. Great, we had 142 responses. And 6 out of 10 of you are young women, or women. I shouldn't say not everybody in the room is a young woman. Of course, I am. Oh, 34% of you are male. 4% of you have identified as other, and 2% of you have declined to answer the question. Let us continue. How would you describe your ethnicity or race? A, white, B, black or African American, C, Hispanic, Latino or Spanish origin, D, Asian, E, American Indian or Alaskan Native, F, Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, G, other, or H, you may again decline. Polling is now open. You have 10 seconds remaining. All right, we had 140 responses. 2 out of 3 of you identify as black or African American, and 21%, or 2 out of 10 of you, identify as white, with 4% of you being other or identifying as other. Let us continue. In what age group do you belong? We're going to ask you to please select one. A, are you 13 or under? B, are you 14 to 18 years old? C, are you 19 to 21 years old? D, are you 22 to 34 years old? E, are you 35 to 44 years old? F, are you 45 to 54 years old? G, are you 55 to 64 years old? H, are you 65 and older? And D, do you decline? Or, I'm sorry, not D, I. Do you decline to answer the question? Polling's open. 15 seconds. Time is up. We had 142 responses. So 40% of you are between 14 and 18, roughly. 6% of you are 13 or under. The next largest group, 25% of you are 22 to 34. And then we've got sort of cross-representation for the other age groups. Fantastic. Is that all? Okay, last question. This is the 4th meeting of the Ferguson Commission. How many previous meetings have you attended? So we'd like to know if this is your first meeting or not. So A, you've attended no previous meetings. B, you've been to one other meeting. of the commission? C, you've been to 2 other meetings, or D, you've been to 3 other meetings? Polling is open. Ten more seconds. Fantastic. We had 142 responses. 8 out of 10 of you have never been to a commission meeting, so we welcome you and are thrilled that you have joined us today. And roughly 8% of you have gone to 1 meeting, and 6% of you have gone to 2, and then a smattering of you have gone to 3. So that concludes our keypad polling, our demographic polling. Thank you for participating. We're now going to send our volunteers by to go ahead and collect the keypads from you.
I thank Rebecca for her leadership there. One of the things about safe space, and we want to create that, we're going to get to open mics immediately following this, is you can't ask me to be open or honest with you if I don't know who you are. And so one of the things that was done early on and afforded to all the commissioners was an opportunity to introduce ourselves to the community, to say who we are, what our hopes and dreams for this process are, and some of that's already posted on our website at STL Positive Change. Our newest commissioner has not had that opportunity, so before we begin in the listening process, we want you to have some access to who is listening to you. So I want to ask Commissioner Watson if he would come. He'll share a bit of introduction about himself and a little bit about his hopes for this process as well.
Thanks, Starsky. Appreciate it. Thank you. I just want to thank everyone for coming out this morning. Just to let you know, I am very honored and pleased to be here this morning. I'm the newest commission that was just selected by the governor, and I am honored to be appointed to this position. My name is Byron Watson, and I'm a retired sergeant with the St. Louis County Police Department. I'm currently working as a campus police officer over at the St. Louis Community College at Forest Park. My mother, my father, my brother are all lifelong residents of the Ferguson area. My motivation and desire for wanting to serve on this commission is in the hope that my 33 years in law enforcement, where I have been supervised and organized neighborhood watch programs, citizen and teen police academies, and I've also served as a community relations officer. I have volunteered my off-duty time working with the Division of Family Services, where I have mentored at-risk juveniles who have been incarcerated in our detention center. I have taught police ethics to classes to the recruits down at the police academy, and I was also a certified police training officer. In addition, I was a DARE instructor as well as a supervisor over the program, and I supervised over 30 DARE officers throughout the school districts through St. Louis County. My morals and value system was instilled into me by my mother and father. I was raised that you should treat people the way you want to be treated. Don't forget where you came from. Work hard, remain humble, and always keep God first in your life. I was born here in St. Louis. I raised my family here in St. Louis, and I am deeply concerned about the current state of our city. I hope that by my serving on this commission, it will help us to create a blueprint that other cities, state, and even our nation someday will look at as a model that will bring about real change, improve communication, develop safer neighborhoods, and create overall peace and healing for our city. In closing, I know that respect is earned, it's not given. And I hope and pray that you will allow me the opportunity to earn your trust and respect. Thank you.
So at this point, we thank Commissioner Watson. We welcome him to this space. At this point, we're going to transition. And Lorna Godwin, who's been providing us leadership in our open mic segments, will do so as well. And while she's preparing, I turn this around. All righty.
Good morning. Oh, as Brittany said, we can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. As you were signing in this morning at the front desk, we had a sign up and mention to you that there would be a youth open mic portion of the program. This is that time. So if you put your name in a fishbowl, I'm going to call your name Obviously, the topic of this Ferguson Commission session is youth well-being and impact. We have 7 names, so there's time, even though we're running behind, to get all of you in. You have 2 minutes. I will time you up here. I'll have the timer that you will see. So I'll get the first 2. Who will speak first so you can get ready? Kalia Adams. Kalia, raise your hand. Great. Come on up. And after Kalia will be Caroline Apple, Haley Stout, okay? So speak to commission right there. Go ahead, state your name and then.
My name is Kalia Adams. I ain't never done nothing like this, so if I stutter or something like this. But in all the events that's been happening, it's impacted me personally greatly with my school and education personally, and just home in my community, because I live right by like where all the stuff got burned down and stuff. And so all the looting and stuff that was going on, I feel like that was our way. Well, when we was peacefully protesting and stuff, we feel like we want to get enough attention or getting the kind of attention that we needed to be seen or heard. Basically, I don't agree with everything that's been going on, but I feel like that this had to happen for us to grow as a community and as St. Louis altogether, period. And then I feel like we need more group stuff like this for youth to keep us out of trouble and stuff, so that we can do so you won't have to be at home or just walk roaming and stuff. And I feel like this is a topic that needs to be discussed in school, like openly. Like most of our teachers, they don't want to talk about it and just kick it underneath the rug, but it's something that needs to be talked about and be heard and stuff, and they be like, okay. So I feel like our lives begin at the end of the day that we become silent about things that matter. And so we need stuff like this so that we can talk about it, and as a group to come together. And I feel like we need the adults to hear the adults tell us that what we're doing is not okay, but tell us what makes it, how do we do this right, basically. And also, yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kalia.
Where's Caroline? And Caroline, state your name, and you have 2 minutes.
What?
You have 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. My name is Caroline Apple. I have been unable to speak for my own rights due to what's blessed upon my skin. I have been written on pads of paper that I was too broken to find hope. I see my insecurities and struggles of that in my hometown. I am a resident of Delwood. Many young people have been so determined to find a change, but have been torn down in the process. I want you to know that the change in Ferguson has empowered people like me who have not had their voices heard and would like to have them heard someday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Haley Stout is next, and you have 2 minutes. State your name when you come up. And after Haley will be Tyra Searcy. Is Tyra here? Great.
Hi. I've been wanting for a long time for people to hear my voice and how Ferguson has affected a lot of it. I have 2 little sisters, and they were affected by it a lot. They were too scared to go to school, and a lot of the kids at my school kept worrying about what was going on in Ferguson, and I didn't know what to do, and I just felt like every time I tried to talk about it, people would tell me it's fine, nothing's gonna happen, it's stupid. But I knew deep down inside that it's important because there were a lot of people affected by it, and a lot of people hurt, families hurt. I'm sure the people that got shot, their family was probably very devastated and was not treated fairly. So I just felt that people needed to hear that it wasn't a very important thing that happened, and it should affect you, and that's really it.
Thank you, Haley. Haley, someone asked what school are you from? I'm sorry? Bernard. Bernard. Thank you.
As Tyra comes up, the next person will be Karina Arango. Great.
Hi, my name is Tyra Cersei. I'm a senior at McClure North High School. My question is, how can we better prepare ourselves as students for college so that we can become better educated people of our community? I understand that people say that we need to vote and we need to go to college, but I also think that we need help doing that. It's more than saying it. So how can you guys help us meet the people that we need to know so that we can make these things happen, so that when they happen again, we can actually say, well, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do, and I know this because I have the education to prove it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tyra. Very well said. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Karina Rango. I'm 22 years old and a senior at Fontbine University. I'm also a policy intern with the Scholarship Foundation. So first of all, I want to thank the commission and everyone here for allowing an avenue for youth to speak up and to express what we've been feeling for a very long time. And with saying this, I think, and piggyback off what the young lady said before me, is we really believe that education is key to become an educated citizenry. So again, what can we do, or as me as a college student my senior year, help others who've come in the same path to allow them to graduate and attain a college education? I really think that that's the key, and focusing on our educators in elementary school and in the middle schools and the primary, secondary, I think is key, because we really spend most of our lives in school. So I think really developing a strong educational system for our students, for our future, is really, really essential for us to move along forward. Again, I want to thank you for all of your hope and for your time to listening to us.
Thank you, Karina.
Okay, the next two are Kira Sanders and Kivon Monger. Okay, you're after her.
For one second, if we could, for whomever knows logistics, if we could get some lighting up here, it may be helpful. I don't know if it creates a challenge for the screen, but.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't.
Hello, my name is Kyra Sanders. I go to school at Ferguson Middle, and I wrote a poem for this situation. It's called Humanity and Racism. Looting, shooting, and thinking of a team coming from a recruitment. Probably thinking about, how am I gonna get these cigarillos, man? But he stopped by a police officer, clear sight in hand. Looting, shooting, he's talking about a team who was in the midst of a recruitment. With no one around, over time, pow, pow, the sheen shot on the ground. 18 years old, probably didn't do nothing. His mom sitting on the couch crying in tears with Michael Brown's blood shed near. For hours and hours he laid there. And shame, Darren Wilson was there when Michael lied there. He didn't care. He didn't care what was going on to the girls and boys in the world. He just wanted to be free. But for all commitment, the slaves wasn't free from the slavery, racism, and execution. The white people didn't care to be the ones who stopped the fight that our ancestors put up because it was wrong, never right. I'm not racist at all, so let the church bell ring, let me do my thing, and let me sing. I woke up this morning on my mind it was standing on freedom. That's what Martin Luther King sung when he was in jail. Let the general public be released as one to form a safe community for humanity. Let the voices be heard no matter what race, because we should be friends, never arch enemies. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyra.
Good morning. My name is Kevon Monger, and I'm from Jennings. Have lived in Jennings my whole life, from the Jennings School District. I really have been involved in the things going on in my community, and one of the things that me and my peers have worried about is just the police and their stereotypical mind frames, you know. It's not easy walking down the street and just being stereotyped. The other week, I was walking down Lexington Jennings Station Road, and his name was Officer O'Hara, and he stopped me, and he slammed me on the car and said that I was supposedly to have a gun. I had just walked out the computer lab. I don't know why the police think it's okay to treat us as if we're not human, you know. And it's hard to, it puts us in a position like, if we can't call the police, who can we call? And it shouldn't take for a situation in Ferguson to happen, or for the Mike Brown situation to happen, for all this to come together. You know, we always should care about what's going on and what's going on with the youth or whatever the case may be, but it's not easy being a young black male living in Jennings or living near Ferguson or with everything going on. And it's like the police officers, it didn't bring the police officer closer to us. It brought them far away, more further, you know. And the police officer is like, they don't really care, you know. They come to work, you know, and they don't treat us like we're human, you know. They don't treat us like, they don't give us the respect that we deserve. And it really is hard. I'm sorry, excuse me. We sat down with the Congressman Clay, and we've talked. I believe, you look familiar, I believe you were there. And some of my peers, we also said that with the situation that happened with Michael Brown, it did with the schools, everybody wants to be quiet about it. And I don't understand this. Why should we be quiet? Why won't nobody take the initiative and say, these young people, this is happening to them as well, you know? They have their own interactions with the police, but no one wants to address it, you know? Nobody want to actually stand up and say, they're human, you know what I'm saying? We have worries, we have something to say, and we are living this every single day. You know, you guys might see us at school, but we go home to hardships and hard lives. So something needs to be changed. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevon.
I'm going to take the last three. Damian Weil. Damian, come on up. And then after Damian, Deanna Harper. And last but not least, Clifton Kimmy. Clifton? Great. State your name.
How y'all doing? My name Damian White. I'm from Kentfield, straight out of Kentfield, where Mike Brown got killed at. And like I said, man, they let him lay his body there for 4 hours to try to make an example. You know, that's basically telling black people, like, if you come up against the police, this what's gonna happen. This what, you know what I'm saying? Then you got a man that say, I can't breathe on TV, you know what I'm saying? They let him walk away, so what are you really telling the black man, you know what I'm saying? Are you? Guys like me, I done made it out a little bit. Excuse me, y'all, because I'm a little nervous, because y'all, just give me a second, because y'all look like some important people. And
You good, you good. You're important, Damien.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying to, you heard me, I'm shaking, and you heard me, I ain't never done nothing like this. But like I said, I am Mike Brown, you heard me? Like, all of us, Mike Brown, it's not a black or white thing, it's a right or wrong thing. They steady killing our youth and getting off with it. And like, they let Darren Wilson walk. The man say, I can't breathe. Now we record, what's the point of a video recorder? If we seeing the man say, I can't breathe, and then he still get killed, and he get off with it. Like, Vondrick Davis, you know what I'm saying? I just met his mother at the black grand jury thing last week. That was last weekend. You know, I felt that emptiness, that pain. You know, her son got gunned down by an off-duty police officer. You know what I'm saying? Off-duty. So they doing it, they off-duty. Shot him from the back. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm be out here for real. I'm trying to get the youth to, cause they ready to just, they feel like our elder men, like, I'm a little older. I don't supposed to be up here for real, but I wanted to speak though. I know this the only way I was gonna be able to speak though. You heard me? Cause this need to get out. The youth feel like they straight don't have a chance. The police, that's why I say, I looked around, I wanted to see if it was like, I wanted the white police officers to be in the room to understand our pain. Like, we don't have nothing against y'all. We men just like y'all. We put our pants on the same way just like y'all. We wake up, got kids, everything, want to go back home just like y'all. We don't have a problem with y'all. All we want to do is a chance. It used to be DWB driving while black. Now we can't even walk down the street without a chance of us not coming home. Like, I know I ain't got that much time, y'all. Just
Your time's up.
I'm out here because I'm a new father. My son 1 year old, you heard me? I don't want, like, that's a pain. I don't want my son to be walking down the street, you know what I'm saying, for anything. And the police having a bad day, anything, and straight be gone, and my son be gone. You heard me? I'm out here straight front line, y'all. You heard me? I seen, you heard me? They don't understand our voice. I can't come to the man and be like, I got a problem with this police officer. They sweep us under the rug. So you gotta lose, you gotta burn. That's all you understand now. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand. I'm coming to you, I got a problem. We just get swept under the rug. Black lives really do matter. We really out here for real, dying. If you look on TV every day, it's us. I'm glad y'all having things like this because we need this. We need y'all to keep us informed and all. I'm sorry. Here I come, Miss Lady.
Okay, you got
I need
For
y'all.
someone who was nervous.
I know. I need y'all to keep having things like this. Is my first meet. I seen it on the news. They brought, like, it was real quick. Like the news, like everything else going on in the world, the news just broadcasts this for like 30 seconds. I seen it. Here I come, sister. I seen it on the news. I said, I gotta wake up and be a part of that. Like, you hear me? People need to hear us. We dying every day, y'all. It's time to stand up, you heard me?
Thank you.
Thanks, Damien. Thanks.
Deanna, I hope you're not nervous. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Deanna Harper. I'm a senior at McClure North High School. As a senior, going into senior year, this entire event kind of made it chaotic, you know. This is supposed to be the, I gotta get ready, gotta get relaxed, gotta get my things together for college so, you know, I can make myself an educated person. But, you know, instead we're missing full weeks of school, you know, trying to all have feelings on this event. We're getting in trouble because everybody's trying to express their event through social media, which is unsafe, which brings me to, I'm really glad to see this turnout because I'm glad to see that our youth isn't just shoving this under the rug and, you know, letting this thing go. Because it is highly important that we get our point across and that we make a difference. Because as a young African American, we cannot ignore the fact that the citizens experiencing the police brutality have been African American. And it is very scary to walk out, you know, and be stereotyped because of my skin tone and because of the way I dress or the way my hair is, you know. And it's like, I just want everything to be equal. Equality is key, you know. And I'm not saying it's quote unquote the white man's fault or anything like that. I think that we all just need to gather together, you know, like this. There are African Americans, there are Caucasians here, and we can all just be in unity with each other, you know? Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Defina.
And the last, Clifton?
Hello, I am Clifton Kinney, activist and member of Millennial Activists United, Ferguson Action, and Black Lives Matter. I attend Lutheran High School North. It is no secret that St. Louis has become a tale of two cities, separate and unequal. It is also no secret that the death of Michael Brown has resulted in a new protest movement, high emotions, and strong awareness. I believe that I reside in one of the most racially divided cities, St. Louis, here in America. It is a shame that we have to warn our children not to wear hoodies in public, change the tone of your voice when talking to a white person, and when you see a policeman, run because they are not here to protect you. I was taught, when you're black, step back. When you're brown, turn around. And when you're white, you're right. As an activist in this movement, I think the question is, where do we go now? I think that's why we're all here. I think the Ferguson Commission is a great step, but I would like all of us to look at the deeper issue of racism and inequality. There are strong lines of separate and unequal socially, politically, and economically. They teach us in school that Martin Luther King had a dream, but many of the youth believe that this has turned into a beautiful nightmare. Instead of seeking a dream, we must seek the reality. I have seen the reality of a fair criminal justice system. I have seen a reality in which my 12-year-old sister, who was hit in the face with a rubber bullet, will no longer fear for the safety because of the color of her skin. I have seen the reality in which we will no longer have to get society to understand that Black lives matter. Together we will do this. Clifton Kinney, activist, thank you.
Thank you, Clifton. So we want to thank folks for the passion of their words. Those won't be the only voices we hear on today, but we want to make sure that we have space to hear as many voices as possible. When we come back over the lunchtime, we'll have a chance for more kind of singular open mic before the entire group. But what we're going to transition to is one of the things we found really helpful in getting to hear as many people as possible is some small group sessions where we'll have facilitated discussion in some breakout groups, and we're able to kind of bring all of that information back. I'll just give a note for folks for whom this is your first meeting. If this is your first meeting, I encourage you to go out to stlpositivechange.org, stlpositivechange.org, because you'll find the notes and recap from all of the previous meetings, including the information from these small group sessions on that website. And it's a little clunky, so we got to do some work on our website, but if you go to the calendar where the meetings are, you click on the meeting, you'll see all the documents from that meeting, including these summaries. I say that to say a couple of things. Please know that what you say in the meetings, even in the breakouts, even if you don't speak on the mic, is captured and kept. So please let your voice be heard in these breakout groups, because this is a way for us to hear everybody in the room. So I want to invite Rebecca Bennett up to give us some guidance on how we'll make this transition, and just invite you to receive her as you gather your thoughts.
So I want to thank those of you who participated in the open mic. What's coming next are small group discussions that really allow us to hear more of your voices and to get more of your input. We are going to be having small groups that focus on 3 topics. They're going to be focusing on safe, supportive, and healthy families, and those are the pink sheets that you see, safe, supportive, and healthy schools, and then safe, supportive, and healthy communities. So those are going to be our 3 focus areas for today. We are trying to keep probably no more than 15 to 20 of you per group, and we have facilitators who are awaiting you. If you want to know what group you're in, all of you have name badges. You have name tags. Those name tags have a colored dot on them. So if you would listen for a moment, if your dot is dark orange, you're going to be with me and Brittany Farrell. Brittany, please stand. You're going to be with me and Brittany, and we're going to be in dining room B. We have choral fellows who will be downstairs to direct you. Dining room B is downstairs. So are my choral fellows in the back? Okay, so if you see them waving their hands. If you have a yellow dot, you are going to be with Deion Ferguson. Deion, please stand. She's in the back. Okay, you're going to be with Deion, Oni Harrison, and Mario Jones. Oni and Mario, they're in the back. They're waving their hands, and so you're going to go over and join them. If you have a green dot, you're going to be with Alexis Templeton. Alexis, very good. And Tom, very good. He's in the back. You all are going to be in dining room A downstairs. and you see them and they will accompany you? Interesting. If you have a light orange colored dot on your name badge, you're going to be with Lorna Godwin, right here in Paris. Nathan, right in the back, you're going to be right there where the yellow sheets are. If you have a blue dot and it says number 1 on it, you're going to be with Jessica Wernley and Adrian Denson. Jessica and Adrian, please stand. You see their hands in the back? And you're going to be downstairs in dining room C. And if you have a blue dot that has a number 2 on it, you're going to be with George Taylor and Jade Brown. George and Jade, you see them waving right there? You're going to join them over there. So the way this is going to work is we're going to have all of you discuss all 3 issues. So you're going to start with a particular group, and your facilitators, after about 20 to 25 minutes, will inform you of the next group that you're to go to, where you will be greeted by another round of facilitators. We have facilitation teams that are led by young people, and then they have a supporter who will be recording what it is you say, trying to capture the highlights that come from the discussion. I do want to remind you of what Starsky said earlier, and that is this really is an opportunity for youth voice. So for older adults who want to contribute, each one of the stations actually has some Post-it notes, and you can write your thoughts on those Post-it notes and then place the Post-it notes up at the end of the conversation. But we really want to protect the space to hear from young people. So we want to thank you. I did. I'm going to talk about the subjects one more time. We have 3 subjects: families, schools, and communities. Okay, families, schools, and communities. You now know where you need to go. You will get a chance to talk about all 3. And at the end of that, we're going to all come back up here and we're going to share the highlights that came out of the discussion and then move into our lunch. So thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to find your small group and your small